Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, Saunch here. Welcome back to another episode here on the Bodybuilding News Network. We have a very exciting show for you today because there was not a live stream for this year's Cali Pro in the Men's Open Bodybuilding. Aaron Banks, IFBB Pro Men's Physique Champion, was nice enough to record it for us. So we're going to be using his footage. So I hope you enjoy the complete prejudging breakdown coming to you live from me. So let's go ahead and start off with, we have Theo Leguerrier on the stage now in the prejudging, going through his routine. Now I would say with my with my predictions for the Cali Pro, I did see him landing outside the top 6 for different reasons than what you're going to find out here as we start digging through these routines for prejudging. But Theo looked really good. I thought he looked really sharp, great conditioning, some of the best separation that we're going to see on stage in the hamstring department. He's very wide, very complete bodybuilder. He doesn't really have a lot of issues. And that's something that I think is going to be benefiting him a lot in the future and has been benefiting him, is his ability to have such a really pretty complete physique. And, if we're going to be looking at, let's pull up his contest history. We saw him a few times last year. Let's see here. Apologies. I did want to mention this stuff while we have these athletes on stage, just to give you guys a little bit more value. Placing top 4 at the most recent New York Pro. And I thought that was a really good package from him. Now, debatably, I would say that he is sharper here at the Cali Pro, but there is a different lineup, and that's going to make a huge difference. Last year, placing 5th at the Yamamoto Pro Cup, 3rd at the inaugural Arnold Classic UK, and a couple other 5th and 6th place finishes, respectively. Next up, we have Andrea Muzi coming on stage right now in the prejudging routine. Really sharp package for him. I would say that my biggest critique in last night's video from him was the conditioning. He lacked a lot of the separation in conditioning to really put him in that top, that top 3, top 4. And actually what the way these events turned out for this show is you're going to see him in this top 4. He's going to be battling it out between a couple other people. I don't want to spoil it too early, but really solid package from him. You're looking at these hamstrings, looking at the glutes. You can see the cross striations, the deep cuts in those glutes. Great set of calves as well. It's always something nice to see here. Just really good package that he brought. Loved hearing his coach and his team in the crowds. They were yelling him out all the time. So that's really cool to see. And here, the last time we saw Andrea Muzi on stage here was in the 2021 Europa Pro Championships, placing 11th. And those are the photos that we used last night. And like I said, was not his best package. He came in pretty soft from that show, and his placing showed. Now, coming into this show, he looks so good right now. He's going to be one of those wider guys that you're going to see on stage, but still with a relatively good package. I will say his lower abdominals, I'd like to see a little bit more structure, if that's the right words. I'd like to see a little bit more muscle in the abdominals, a little bit more separation. They look just a tad bit washed out, but then you look at the legs and it's just so separated. So, and then I also, just a small critique is I noticed a little bit of gyno. Luckily his nipples, his chest points downwards instead of the nipples being up. So it's not as prominent, but I definitely noticed it and I wanted to point it out. Andrea Presti next, placing 2nd at the most recent New York Pro. And I thought he looked really comparable. If anything, I think he looks sharper in this show here at the Cali Pro. I'm not sure what went wrong for him. I know that the judging it was different here. He's going to get a different look as we get into prejudging, and you'll see. I don't want to spoil too much for you because that just kind of takes the fun out of it. But he placed 2nd at the New York Pro. this year, and then he placed 16th, or actually I think he placed outside the top 16 at the Olympia last year. So, taking a look at, how he looks here in the Cali Pro, I really liked the package he brought. He looks pretty darn sharp. I would say debatably as sharp as Andrea Muzi, who we just saw on stage. Now, there's going to be a little bit of differences. Andrea Presti, who we're looking at right now, he's really, really wide. And you're going to think that that's going to give him a really good look from the judges, but his structure is different than a lot of the guys we're going to see on stage. He's taller. He's more limb dominant, like say in the legs, which kind of takes away from the overall thickness that his legs are going to present. And I think that that's something that the judges are going to be putting into consideration when they're doing the prejudging. But of course, best of luck to him. It's still only the prejudging, so we have a lot of time left before the finals. So best of luck to him. All right, coming on the stage next, Christopher Robinson, pro debut, phenomenal. I know I was listening to Max Mark's Muscles prediction. He had him in his top 2, I think it was, or at least the top 4. Very, very impressive prediction from Mark there. Now, I'm not sure where he's going to be landing coming out of prejudging into finals. I think I had him around the 8 to 10, somewhere in there. But overall, I think he could place higher. He brought really good conditioning from the back. I'd say he's a little soft. He's big and full. He has that really nice bubbly muscle. But I would like to see a little bit more separation in the Christmas tree area, the lower back, and then also in the lats. He has that width, but there's just not a lot of conditioning. There's not a lot of separation when you look at the different parts, especially from the back. From the front, really, really nice. Great legs, the sweep, the teardrops, the cross striations on the adductors and the abductors. Just really nice set of legs. Tiny midsection, great condition. Now, I will say maybe a little bit in the chest. You could use a little bit more muscle in the chest, a little thickness, but, pro debut, guys. I think this is a great starting point for him. And then his judges were yelling, take your time, pose slowly. I thought that was really cool to hear. Next up, we have Mohamed Shaaban. Definitely one of the favorites to, maybe even win the show. I think I had him in my top 3. And I think that that's exactly where he's going to be landing here in prejudging as we are just about to roll in there. He looks phenomenal. He looks sharper than last year, so he definitely was able to take advantage of that time off the stage and recover. The thing with Mohamed, and I've talked about it in the preview from last night, is he has so much muscle that he's been able to put on. He just hasn't really been able to get that clean, sharp look yet. The separation in the muscle it's lacking. And you can see that from the back, not a lot of hamstring separation. The lower back, there's not a lot of real detail there. He's just big. He's gotten a lot of muscle. The midsection is still under control, and I think that that's what's really his saving grace in a lot of these shots. But I would really like to see him really nail his conditioning and just come super, super, maybe not like Andrea Muzi sharp, but sharper. And I think that's going to be what's going to be hurting him in these shows coming up, because he's definitely not going to stop competing. As that's why he was able to compete last year at the Olympia, is because he placed so well in so many shows. He did well, it says he only did 3 shows last year, but I don't think that's correct. I thought he did a lot more than that. But 2 back-to-back second places at last year's Cali Pro and at the Puerto Rico Pro. So he definitely racked up quite a bit of points and top 10 at the Olympia. So something that we should be taking into consideration with him competing today. Now, sometimes the bodybuilding math doesn't always add up the way we would like it to, but I think he's going to do well. I've already watched the prejudging footage, but we're going to be watching it live for you if you have not seen it already. But just such a great structure. He's put on so much muscle, and like I said, it's going to be that fine tuning that him and his team is going to need to do to really step it up, and maybe even win some shows this year. I'm not too sure. But besides those 2 second place finishes last year, he also placed 5th at last year's Tampa Pro, which was a very solid lineup. So I like him. I think he's got a lot of potential here. He's only been competing for maybe like 4 or 5 years. And really, I think 2018 he did 3rd place at the Romania. And then after that, then he started really popping up on the scene. But definitely his NPC scorecard is not complete, and my the prejudging routines are not complete either, because they didn't record every single posing routine. But as we bring out the top 6, I believe they're going to bring out the top 6. Let's see what we have. We're definitely going to be expecting Tonio Burton. We're going to be expecting Mohamed Shaaban, Charles Griffen for sure. Who else? Well, actually, let's just see right now. Who are they going to bring out? Yep. Petar Klancir and Andrea Muzi. So not Presti. And then Mohamed Shaaban on the left. So kind of a different top 5. I think in my prediction video, I had Andrea Presti winning, being in first place. Looks like he's not even making the top 5. So definitely interesting to see there. Video quality, not that great. I will say that there was some quality lost from watching it to recording it. So I do apologize there. Really comes down to why didn't they have a live stream? It's really unfortunate. We're not going to dig into it too much here, but looking at this, we got Charles Griffen in the middle, and then debatably, I think they're going to move Tonio Burton around, and then they're also going to move Mohamed Shaaban around. But I'd say it's going to be those 3 and Andrea Muzi battling it out for this top 4. Petar Klancir looking phenomenal. Definitely really, really big. Not sure what he needs to have to put himself in that top 4 here. He has such a different physique than everyone else. He's so long. He doesn't look too much taller than Andrea Muzi, but definitely tall enough to make him different here. But really complete bodybuilder, great structure, great high lat inserts. You don't always get to see that, and I appreciate it. Charles Griffen, still in the middle. I know Aaron Banks, when he was doing the live stream and talking about it, he really was talking about how the in person he just looks so freaky conditioned. He definitely has Charles Griffen winning, hands down. He said it really wasn't even comparable with the conditioning. Now, they just brought Tonio Burton in the middle, and I think in my prediction I said 4th for him, but if he didn't crack into that top 2 or 3, I'd be upset. And it looks like that's exactly what he's doing here. He's definitely in the top 4. I would say debatably, if he could knock off Mohamed Shaaban, I think he could land in the top 2. But there's also that conversation of, how is he going to be comparing to Andrea Muzi and Petar Klancir, because those 2 guys are very different structures than Tonio's. Tonio is smaller, compact, previous 212 Indy champion, and then top 4 at last year's Legion Sport Festival, the 2021 Legion Sport Fest. So that was where he kind of started to make that transition to men's open. I'd like to see him at a bigger show. He competed against some big names at the Legion Sport Festival, but I'd like to see him stand up against, I don't know, seeing him next to like Hunter Labrada and Ian Valier. I think that would be really cool to see. but he looked great next to all those guys at the Legion Sport Festival last year. But yeah, I'd like to hear you guys' thoughts down below. What are your guys' thoughts so far in the prejudging? Do you think it's a clear-cut victory for Charles Griffen, or do you think that there's a conversation for Tonio to make the upset? Do you think Mohamed Shaaban has what it takes to beat out in my opinion, a better conditioned and a better flowing Charles Griffen? I don't think so. I think Mohamed Shaaban, he has the muscle. But again, it's going to keep coming back to that separation piece. Now, this live stream isn't that great, so the quality is, difficult to watch, and I do apologize for that. So you're not going to be able to see the real fine detail that you would in person, but it's enough. There's enough detail. There's enough separation quality in the live stream to, see that coming into this back double. I mean, my eyes are just bouncing between Charles Griffen and Tonio Burton. They just have such bubbly physiques, and they're just so conditioned. There's really nothing that they're missing. Tonio has some really freaky quads that really explode at the top, whereas like a lot of people's quads kind of, like if you think about like Rafael Brandeo's quads, that's kind of what I usually think about when I think about people's front quads. Well, quads are in the front, right? Teardrops areas, right? But Tonio just looks phenomenal. I would not be upset if he had the upset here, but I think it's pretty handily that Charles Griffen's going to be walking away with this one. I know that they're going to bring up some more comparisons here, so stay tuned. Of course, check out the description for all the athletes' links, their Instagram pages, and all of my affiliate links at the very bottom if you want to support me besides liking, commenting, and subscribing. Now, Maxx Charles in the middle versus Andrea Presti. And then we also have our boy Douglas Fruchey here, moving all the way to the right, switching places with Theo Leguerrier. And then also we have the pro debut of Christopher Robinson all the way on the left. And, that's what I was saying, guys. I thought that it was going to be Theo outside the top 6. He could very well sneak in, but he's going to have to knock off Charles, and he's going to have to knock off Andrea Presti. So, Presti placing second at the New York Pro, and then Theo placing 4th, Charles placing 3rd. So this is kind of like a preview, the 3 in the middle of your top 4 at the New York Pro. And it's really interesting to see all 3 of them outside the top 5. So, really speaks to the depth and caliber of this year's lineup. Again, can't speak more highly enough about the top 5 so far. Maxx Charles, he's kind of a tough physique. I try not to critique him too much, but it just feels like he doesn't flow as well as he needs to really crack in and win shows. He's always competitive. Sometimes he'll place like something crazy like 9th. Sometimes he'll place top 3. It's really a conditioning game for him. He has enough muscle now that he's improved his lower back or his lower body. The legs were what really hurt him in a lot of the placings in the last couple of years. Andrea Presti, just such a powerhouse. He's really put on a lot of muscle in the last couple of years. And for me, I didn't really know too much about the guy until I saw him win. Oh goodness, what was the show that he won last year? I think it was the Big Evolution. So he won the Big Evolution last year, and then he also placed 4th at the Yamamoto Pro Cup, right beside Theo Leguerrier. And then he also placed 4th at the Puerto Rico Pro, right beside Mohamed Shaaban, who placed 2nd there. So these guys are very familiar with each other. They've all been on the same stages together. Douglas Fruchey, our boy, love the guy. He'll probably be on after for the recap of the New York Pro and the Cali Pro. He's just not getting the look, guys. I don't know where he needs to make the improvements. I'm looking forward to hearing what his thoughts are and his takeaways are from his shows so far, but he brings really good conditioning, and he has a lot of muscle. He's just fine-tuning those things to increase his placings. And Theo Leguerrier, such a beautiful physique. I think he's just kind of getting overlooked in this lineup by, you know, potentially bigger and harder people. And I think that that's going to be the story coming out of this one for him. He doesn't really need any improvements. He just needs to just keep bringing what he has been bringing in terms of conditioning. But I'd hate to see him blow out his structure in any way possible. And also, he's one of those few guys that really masters posing routines. So looking forward to seeing, you know, hopefully Aaron Banks records the finals as well, so we get to see posing routines. But, you know, don't hold your breath. It's really hard to say, you know, who's going to be making content here. It's so crazy that we have to, in 2022, at an Olympia qualifying show, we have to rely on the fans and the audience to bring us the footage. It's crazy. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but this is going to be your battle for the 4 through 8. So Andrea Muzi in the middle battling it against Petar Klancir for the 4th and 5th spot. Maxx Charles and Andrea Presti on the outside for the 7th and 8th place right now. And I don't think Andrea Muzi is going to be moving anywhere. I think he's going to be pretty solid in that top 4. I think the skin tone is just a little bit better. It's more goldy. It's a cleaner look in my opinion. And Petar, he's massive, but I wish he wasn't so red, if that makes sense. I'm not sure what quality you guys can see from a recording, but he's just so big, but the color is just a little off. Just not enough gold and a little too much red. And then, you know, Maxx Charles looks pretty solid too. Debatably, you could probably move him up to maybe 6th. I don't know if he has the muscle roundness to beat off Petar. Beat off, that's probably not the best term, but Petar, phenomenal. It was really unfortunate we didn't get to see him at the Indy Pro. We didn't get to see him at the New York Pro. He definitely would have stirred up the top 4, top 5 at both of those shows, respectively, in the Men's Open. But I'm happy to see him finally make it over to the US, get his work visa, and you know, splash into these shows. Moving into, I think this is the top 4, and this will conclude our prejudging. So I do appreciate everyone who stopped by and watched till the end. Subscribe if you have not. I really do appreciate it, and then check out last night's videos if you want a little bit more information about these competitors, their competitive history, and then my thoughts on my predictions coming into the show, and you know, how far off I was and how close I was. Right now, I think they're going to move Charles Griffen in the middle. I think he's expecting it. Yep, there we go. They're going to move him next to Mohamed Shaaban. Now, again, I think it's a Tonio versus Charles. I don't think Mohamed has that separation enough, the graininess enough to knock off Tonio. But I would say that Mohamed has more muscle. But something that's really interesting in 2022, at least, is that it's not always about who has the most muscle. Because if that's how it was judged, then Hassan Mustafa would be winning every single show, because that young buck has so much muscle. He'll actually be coming into the Orlando Pro in 4 weeks, I think. So really stacked lineup in contest shows for the next couple months here. Pretty much back to back. Every weekend, we're going to have a big pro show. But I think that my takeaway from prejudging is Andrea Muzi really showed up and knocked off Andrea Presti, the favorite to win the show. Charles Griffen remains a threat to the Olympia. I think he's going to win this show pretty handedly, unless, you know, he gets really soft into finals and Mohamed Shaaban gets really hard, which I don't think is going to happen. I think it's going to be very, very close. I think it's going to be close, but if I'm going to make my predictions, I think Charles is going to win it. Tonio 2nd, Mohamed Shaaban 3rd, Andrea Muzi 4th, and then, you know, outside the top 4 is going to be, I wouldn't say a toss-up, but it's definitely going to be close. It's going to be competitive. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching another episode here on the Bodybuilding News Network. If you enjoyed my style of contest coverage, consider subscribing. I'm Saunch. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.